Hi boys and girls, today's activity will be another math activity using our 10 frame. So last time we worked on just putting objects in the 10 frame correctly. Today we are going to work on counting the objects that are in a 10 frame, going left to right, doing it the correct way, counting with 1-to-1 correspondence. Okay, so you will need your 10 frame, your egg carton, and you will also need some pom-poms. Or if you have any other manipulatives at your house, you can use those, but I gave you pom-poms, so that's what I'm going to use for our example. Now, we like to make this activity really fun in our class, and one of the ways we do that is with our magic towel. Okay, so I'm going to, if I was doing this with a student, I would have them not look, or I would hide the 10 frame from them, and I would put some of the pom-poms into my 10 frame, and then I would cover it with, I use a dish towel, you can use a washcloth, a small blanket, just something to cover it up. And then we say some magic words. Sometimes we say 1, 2, 3, surprise! And sometimes we say abracadabra and we uncover it. It is just a fun way to get started with the activity before we count. Now, remember, the 10 frame, we start in the left hand corner and move to the right. You'll want it facing your child the correct way, so it may look wrong to you, but to them it should look correct. Starting in the top left, moving one by one. Okay, so after you've uncovered it and said surprise, then your student is going to count it. It is very important that they use their pointer finger or 2 fingers or just something, even if they can just use 3 fingers, but we don't want to use our whole hand because it becomes very hard to distinguish if they're correctly pointing to just one object. So 1, 2, or 3 fingers, just depending on what your child is capable of, and we will count like this. 1, 2, 3, and we always like to say stop once we have counted all the objects. So it would go like this. 1, 2, 3, stop. If your child has a visual impairment or if they struggle to focus on this activity, one thing that I have them do is feel inside the frame. So we would feel 1, 2, 3, and then when they feel that 1 is empty, we know that we stop counting. So 1, 2, 3, stop. That is good for students who cannot see the pom-poms well or at all, or who just struggle with the concept of when to stop. They just want to keep counting, but we have to stop when there's no more objects in the frame. Okay, that is the first part of this activity. The second part is matching these with a number. So you've counted 3, but for some of you, your student is nonverbal, or maybe you're counting for them and they have no way of telling you that they know you counted 3. So for this, you are going to need some numbers. It can be these blue number cards that I provided you. However, I only provided you with up to 5 because these blue cards are actually for a different activity, but you can use them. Or if you would just like to write them out, or if you have flashcards at home, whatever works for you. Some students can view 10 numbers at a time and not be overwhelmed, and some really just need 1 or 2 numbers at a time. You can gauge where your student is and provide them with that many numbers. Now, this is how it will look. You will count with your student, making sure you're starting in the left and moving over 1 at a time. 1, 2, 3. Then you might say, we just counted 1, 2, 3 pom-poms. Where is the 3? And your student will touch the 3. If your student becomes proficient at that, you may just have them count and not give them a prompt. So you may have them count 1, 2, 3, and then you'll say, how many did we count? And they'll touch the 3. If your student is really, really good at it, you can show them more than 2 numbers. You could show them 3 numbers. You could show them 5 numbers. You could show them all 10 numbers at a time. This would be a good opportunity to practice using any communication devices. Most of those have a number section on them, or you can just use the number cards. The reason we do this is how the students communicate that they know how many are counted and that they recognize that a counted set of objects correlates with a written number. Okay, so when you are doing this activity, go ahead and you can do the magic towel method, or if you have another fun method to make it exciting and engaging, go ahead and do that. I would like you to try a couple different sets of numbers. So you may do 3, and then you may do a set of 2, and then you may do a set of 5. If your student is doing really well, you might do a 6 or a 10, but go ahead and do it a few different times. Practice matching it with the numbers, practice counting, one-to-one correspondence, practice pointing and counting. Those are all skills that we're trying to develop in this activity.